Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's form building webinar. My name is Nick, and I'll be taking us through the builder today. Today's topic is going to be over how to use synced forms and how to build them, and also how to edit them. We'll kind of go through how to create one, put it in a packet, and then edit it from there. We'll see how that looks in our final product. As this will be a slightly shorter video or session, I will leave that chat open in case we do have any questions that arise as we go along, and I'll be more than happy to answer those before we close up today. Well, let's go ahead and get started. To get to our packets and forms, we'll go down to the packets and forms page. And once you click on that page, you'll first be taken to the packets tab. We'll have all of our packets that exist in our account here. Currently, we have 5. And then if we click on the forms tab, that will take us to our synced forms list. Now you'll notice that we have 1 of 1 in here right now. We do have one currently built out, but let's go ahead and take a look at that. You will notice it does have a link of its own, so that it will have its own individual link, which can be used to send to patients individually as well. However, it can also be used in multiple packets, so this is a great choice to use as a synced form for something like a release of information or a consent form, or maybe even an intake form, something that might find itself in multiple packets. You can just make that as a synced form, import that form into each packet, and then if you ever need to update that form, you can update it from the synced form and it will make those changes in each packet that it exists in. So you'll only need to update that form one time, and you won't have to go into each individual packet and make those same changes over and over again. All right. Now, before we go in to look at the editing of this, I do want to point out that the synced form is going to need to be a single tab. So you can have as much information on that tab as you like. However, you will not be able to add any tabs to that. You'll notice that if we click on those 3 dots and we click the Edit Forms button, it takes us directly into the form builder. And from here, we can update the elements on this form itself, or update any of these questions if we need to. But if we take a look, before we get into that, at the process of editing forms in the packets, you'll notice that we have the Add Forms page. Now, this is what is skipped whenever you go in to edit that synced form, because you won't be able to add any other tabs to that synced form. It can only be that one tab, and that's because it will need to be imported into these packets as the synced form, and it will tell you in those parentheses when you're using that import function on the packet. You'll be able to select the tab and import it. It will only have one tab, so there will only be one option in that second drop-down for you, but you'll have the opportunity to update that synced form tab title on this, or in this packet. But if you're okay with how it's titled currently, you can just click that Save Name button, and then we'll go Next to Build, and then we'll have that right here at the end. If you are trying to click on a tab of a synced form in a packet, you will notice that you will not be able to edit any of the information. On the other ones, we can move anything around that we need to, update any information that might need to be done, but we are not able to update that synced form. It will tell you that to go to that synced form and update it there. Those changes will be reflected in this packet as soon as that change has been made, but you won't be able to update that in this packet. All right, and we'll go through that process again here in just a moment. But first, we'll go over to our synced form and we'll go in to edit it. If you are creating a synced form from scratch, you'll just have a patient name widget and a blank area to build out your custom form. So you can build it out using the elements on the sidebar over here. And you can also utilize templates as well using that group tool. But if you make any changes here, as mentioned before, so let's say we've built out this form. This is our synced form. If we wanted to change any of the information on this form, let's say we don't need, or maybe we need another set of names and information, and maybe we don't need their address, we just need their contact information. We can go ahead and delete this information out that we don't need, and we'll just utilize their name and phone information along with that email address. We'll update that, and we'll go ahead and duplicate that column to add our second group of information. Also update this to say recipients, just in case there are multiple. And if you don't like the way that, or how much room this takes up being in that 2-column format, we can always change that to that 4-column format. It will just be kind of dependent on how long those question titles are. But we've added our second group here. Let's go ahead and click the Next to Style button, which is going to be a live preview of our form. Before we move on from this page, I always do like to point this out, but this is a live preview of the form. So if you have any required fields that you click past, you will be notified with those required tags. And also you'll be able to test out the signature or drawing widgets if you have them. And if you have any conditional information that will populate based on a specific answer selection, you can test that out here as well. So this is a really great way to test your form before you publish it and make any changes. If it's not looking correct, or if it's not working the way that you like it, you can always just go right back into the builder and then update it accordingly from here, right back into that style page to go in and test that out. All right, but we have our new section here with our name, cell phone, work, and email address of our multiple recipients. And this is just set up as if we were allowing for 2. You could also set this up in a repeating section widget, which would allow for the patient to add as many recipients as they like, but we'll just leave this in the 2 format for now. But we'll go ahead and save these changes by clicking Next to Style, Next to Publish, which will take you to the final step of this. And it does say published, however, we do have one more step to go before those changes have been made and pushed live. This is just going to give you one last opportunity to update the title of that synced form, or grab that direct link or any of the other information you might need from this form. Once you're ready, we can click the Finish Building, go to My Account, or the My Account button at the bottom right. Either one of these is going to take you right back to that Send and Receive page. And once you're back on this page, you'll know that those changes have been saved and published. We can then go back to our Packets and Forms page, click over to our Forms tab, and click on that public link of that synced form. And we can see that that new section has been updated here as well. All right, now we did add that packet or that form to our FormDr training packet, which we'll pull open right now, and we'll go over to that release. We can see that that has been updated. We'll also go in and add that to our registration packet. We'll pull that up a little bit just so they're next to each other. And we'll go in to edit our registration packet. And again, to add a synced form, all we're going to do is use that import form function, that import form button. We're going to click that. Now this will allow you to also import a duplicate copy of any form that already exists in your account. So if you have one that is not a synced form and you still want it to be in multiple packets, you can still do it this way. We could just import, say, that upload cards page, for instance, from our FormDr training packet. Maybe we want our medical history form. And then we can import that. It's not going to pull it out of the other packet. It's simply going to make a duplicate copy of that form in the current packet. Now, if it's not a synced form, then those forms will not be connected. And when you make updates to one of them in one packet, those changes are not going to be reflected in the other packets that it exists in. So you will need to make those changes in all of the other packets. Which is why if you're going to have a form like that, we do recommend making that as a synced form. All right, so we've imported a non-synced form, just a regular form from our other packet, so it has made a duplicate copy. Now, if we go in and we use that import form button again, and this time we're going to select our release of information. And again, it will tell you synced form, so we'll know that that is our synced form. We can go ahead, select that tab, import that, and save it down. Again, when we go through to the builder, we'll be able to update the form here. And as we get through each tab, we'll still be able to edit that medical history form as it is not a synced form. But once we get to that release form, we will not be able to update this information. So we will need to go to that synced form to change anything on this form, or anything on this form in this packet. So we'll go ahead and save those in by clicking Next to Style, Next to Publish, and back to Account. We'll go to the Packets and Forms page, and we'll go ahead and open up that registration packet as well. All right, So we have our release synced form now in both of these packets, and both of them are exactly the same. We can go back to our synced forms, and maybe we want to take that whole section out. Or maybe we want to change it, change the styling, whatever the case may be. Maybe we do like that 2-column format, and we want to go ahead and add a third in there. We can go ahead and change those and duplicate it. We have our third set of information in there as well, and we'll click next to style, next to publish, back to account. At this point, we can then go in, refresh these forms. Oh. Well, just one moment. Got some cached files here. Bear with me for just a second. I will take care of it. If you ever get anything like this, I always do recommend just going and clearing your browser history, as this is usually a cached file issue. Frustrating. But we'll go ahead and refresh those, as I have fixed that on my other screen. And all I did again was just clear my cache there. And here we go. So we can go back to our release form here, and we can see that we have our third set of information added. We have that section has been changed to that 2-column format, and it will have been made on this one as well. So we've only made that change in one packet, which is nice because now we don't have to make that in all of our packets. If we go in and we wanted to update that medical history form in our registration packet, we still can do so. We'll just go in to our builder, make those changes. We'll just duplicate that a bunch so we can see a visual change. Next to style, next to publish, back to account to save our changes. And in our other packets that we do have that form, which would be our FormDr training as well as our registration packet, we can open both of those up, and we'll see that they are different because, again, they are not a synced form. So in our FormDr training packet, our medical history form only has one of those options. However, in our registration packet, we'll have multiple. So if you have, and since we're talking about the import form button in this webinar, if you do have extensive changes that you've made to a form that is not a synced form, I do recommend also using that import form button to just import the edited form into the new packet, and that way you don't have to go in and make those changes, especially if you've moved things around, or things have been updated with new addresses or things like that. And sometimes it is something simple like an address, and it might just make more sense for you to go into each packet and update that paragraph widget in each one, as it might save you some time. But if it is something extensive, I always do just recommend importing that edited form. So from our registration packet, we'll grab that medical history form, save that in, and then we're going to go ahead and delete out, lagging up here. We're going to go ahead and delete out our old medical history form. And then we'll be able to update the order of these tabs once we're back in the builder. So we can go left, right, left, and back to position. And now we have our newly edited medical history form that, again, is not a synced form, but you can use that import form function for both sets of, both types of forms. But again, the synced form is going to make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to editing that, because you won't have to make those changes in all of those packets. Always a great way to save a little time. All right, apologies, having some internet issues today. We'll just go back to the count. All right, were there any questions about anything I've gone over so far? I know that the synced forms and packets can be a little confusing at first, but just know that the packet is also it also has the ability to just be a single form. It doesn't have to be multiple forms. If you do have a packet that you would like to just be one form, you can absolutely do that. Maybe we're just going to go ahead and grab one of our templates, for instance. We'll go for our telehealth form. but we'll just go ahead and use those. We'll get rid of our Spanish one, and we'll get rid of that empty form as well. And we'll save that telehealth form. But a packet can be just one set of forms. It doesn't have to be multiple tabs. This is just going to be the container of forms that's sent to your patient when you send it out. So if you send a packet to a patient, however many forms there are inside, they will receive all of them within, unless some are hidden or anything like that. But just know that when you are adding forms and packets to your account, just keep an eye on the usage down here at the bottom of that list. It will let you know what your maximum availability is in that section. So we can see here that this account that we're currently set on is using only one of the one available synced forms. So we have that already in there. And if we were to try to add any more, it would prompt us to upgrade to go past that. Each account also has access to the documents. So I do recommend checking out our guide pages on the documents as well, but these will allow you to send out just a fillable PDF to your patients as well, which can be really nice if you're only looking to collect that signature, maybe just a few bits of information that might not be worth making into a packet or a form. All right. And if you would like information on these recent releases, such as the synced forms, the documents, or the customizable plans, this is a great segue into what we were going to talk about next. But if you need to check into any of that information, you can always see that in our guide by going to My Account, the Support tab, and then Search Guide. And the guide is a really great resource just to answer questions in general, just in terms of using the account, sending forms, updating users, or even building forms or setting up integrations. All of that information can be found in each of these sections here. But we have tons of articles going through all sorts of scenarios, and especially when it comes to building forms, we have articles on all of our widgets, and then how to make things happen. If you were looking to autofill your form or autofill into a paragraph or whatever the case may be. So please feel free to come check our guide page or guide out, because those guide page articles can be very helpful in terms of how to use the product. But if you go to the FormDr update section down at the bottom right, we can click on that. We'll have our webinar schedule as well as our recent release notes. So if we go to the 3/30/2023 Q1 release notes, this is our most recent update that has included the document signing, the synced forms, as well as those custom plans. So you can come here to our guide to keep track of our recent releases and any new features that have been added, and also our webinar schedule. You can click on that, for instance, our May webinar schedule, as we are just now into the May month. Our onboarding schedule will be up top, and you can click on any one of these links and it will take you right to the sign up page for that day. Now, the onboarding schedule won't change too much. On Wednesdays now in our onboarding webinar, we will be focusing most of that onboarding webinar on these new features. However, the Monday and Friday ones will stay the same in terms of going over that administrative information, how to use the account, how to send forms. We will go over a little bit in editing forms and things like that. But those will be held on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So please feel free to join us for any one of those. And then our form building schedule will change from day to day. So we will be going over different topics each time. And we can see that here. We'll have a small description about what we'll be going over. If you are interested in signing up for any one of these, much like the section above it, you'll just need to click on that title with the date, and it will take you right to the sign up page for that day. If there's anything that you are interested in joining us for, however, you won't be able to be in attendance, don't worry, we will be posting these recordings after the fact as well. For instance, if we go to our March, we'll change those titles to say posted, click here, and this link will take you directly to our YouTube channel, where we'll have some timestamps on those videos as well, just letting you know what we're going over in each of those videos. But we did have kind of a theme for each one, so do feel free to go back and watch some of these previous ones as well, as there will be some helpful information in there for you. February's topic was going over adding and creating new forms to packets and accounts. March was going over each of the individual widgets in the builder. So in March, we went through each widget, how to use it, what it can be used for, things like that. And then April, we went into editing and updating existing forms, which we are kind of extending into the month of May as well. So please feel free to go back and watch any of those previous videos, as there's a lot of good information in there in terms of how to build and set up packets. If you do need to reach out to our support staff for any reason, you can do so in the section below on the same support tab. You'll have a drop down with reason why you're reaching out. If you do have any documentation pertaining to your issue, you can upload that here, whether that's a screenshot or a video or even just some notes. All of that is very helpful for our team in determining what that issue is and going about solving it. And then, of course, the details over here on the right. This is going to be the message that our team receives in that support ticket. So, of course, the more detailed to your issue, the more quickly our team will be able to assess that and take care of that for you. And once you click that contact support button, you'll receive a ticket number, at which point our team will reach out to you shortly after that to help get that issue taken care of. If for any reason our support team needs to log into your account, they will need your support code, which can be found here at the bottom of this page. Each account will have its own support code, again, that our team will need to get in that account. And this is going to be a rare request. It is unlikely our team will need to log into your account for anything like that, but there may be a situation that arises that might need to be tested or looked at from within the account. And in those situations, they will ask you for that support code. And again, that can be found here. All right, it does not look like we have any questions today, so that will conclude today's form building webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. And just a reminder, if you do have any staff or coworkers that would like to learn this information, or if you would like for them to learn this information, these are all free, and we do encourage everybody to join us as often as they like until they're comfortable with the product and beyond as well. So please feel free to send them our way as well. Again, these form building webinars will be held every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, and the onboardings on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. But we really appreciate you joining us today, and we hope to see you again very soon. Have a great afternoon.